but it's the same.
Praise the Lord.
Right. Are you coming to talk? Oh no, can't. She's going to be a mighty woman of God, my niece. You know that, because she knows her own mind and she's only 2.5. And one thing I've learned is that whatever you think is a difficult situation, God can turn around for good. So when she's being stubborn, it's fine, because she'll be a mighty woman of God later and nobody's going to change her mind.
Amen.
There you go. I'm just still trying to convince Charlotte and Damien of that, but it'll be fine. It's all right. Right, who in here has heard of the X Factor? Yeah, I know. So I'm not going to sing, don't worry. It's all right, Abs, you're quite safe. I'm not going to sing, not today. I'm not going to audition. No, you're all right. I want to talk about, have you got the but God factor? You know, because the X Factor's all nice, it's all shiny, but you have to be selected, you have to be chosen. Well, the good thing is God's already selected all of you and He's already chosen all of you. But you need to learn about this but God factor. So our month of prayer has been focused on taking territories. We've learned a lot about what we need to do in order to do this. We've got to overcome our fears. We've got to know what is stopping us. We've got to hold our tongue sometimes, or understand that there is power of life and death in what we speak out of our mouths. We need to be resourced. We need to take control of our thoughts, and we need to overcome the enemy. And we need to know the power we have in His name. But Damien said earlier, you know, the power we've got in Jesus' name to heal and to go out there and make a change is vital. So what I wanted to look at today is something that I'm going to call the but God factor. Because throughout my life and my Christian journey, this has been a really important thing that I've had to learn. In order for me to be able to do all those things that we've just listed, we need to know that we can do this. So in order for us to be able to do this, things that we've been looking at and talking about and taking territories. So what is it? What do I think about God factors? Or what has God told me and what have I learned? Number one, it's knowing that you never have to go through challenges and difficult situations alone. When challenges come, we need to know where our solution lies. When things get hard, when it's painful emotionally and physically, and spiritually and financially, what do? Do we give up and admit defeat, or do we engage the but God factor? In Isaiah 43 verse 1-4 and the Message Bible, it says, "But now God's message, the God who made you in the first place, Jacob, the one who got you started, Israel, don't be afraid, I've redeemed you, I've called your name, you're mine. When you're in over your head, I'll be there with you. When you're in rough waters, you will not go down. When you're between a rock and a hard place, it won't be a dead end. Because I am your God, your personal God, the Holy Israel, your Saviour." And what an awesome thing that is. You know, there are going to be times when it's hard. We all find things harder than others. You know, some things I'm good at, and Charlotte's not, and some things she's really good at, and I'm not. And that's just the way life is. But one of my favourite albums at the moment as well is, because it's got some amazing songs on it, and it's really helped me focus on God, is Of Dirt and Grace, which is by Hillsong. One of the tracks on there is called Here Now, and this has this lyrics in it. It says, "Hear now, still my heart, let your voice be all I hear now. Here now, fix my eyes on things that I cannot see now. Spirit breathe like the wind, come have your way, because I know you're in this place. Faith makes a fool of what makes sense, but grace found my heart where logic ends. When justice called for all my debts, the friend of sinners came instead." And there's going to be times when you face challenges and you face difficulties, and the thing that your faith is telling you to do isn't going to make sense, it's not logical. And for me, it's something that I find really difficult, because I'm quite a logical person. I like things to make sense. I like order, I like process, I like tidiness. And the thing is, God doesn't always work like that. God comes in and He messes things up. Yeah. God comes in and He says, "You know what? I'm going to take the logic and take the order and take the process away, because you're making it too constrained. You're making me try and fit in a little pot, and I don't want to fit in a little pot. I want to be bigger than that." There's something that I've really had to learn, and I've had to walk. You know, stepping out of your comfort zone is a big thing that's challenging me at the moment. But in 2 Corinthians 4, verse 7 to 8 in the NIV, it says, but we have this treasure in jars of clay to show that this all surpassing power is from God and not from us. We are hard pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed but not in despair, persecuted but not abandoned, struck down but not destroyed. And we need to stay grounded in our faith and focused on God. You know, when God comes in and when God, and things seem to be going mad, when your world isn't the way that you want it to be, you've got to stay focused and stay grounded in God. You know, He's our sources of help, our strength, our wisdom and our guidance. The thing is though, that there are times when God will deliver us from a situation, circumstance or experience, and there are times when we just have to walk through it. And for me, that's been a real big thing for the last few years. There's been stuff that's gone on, and I've just thought, God, why can't you just take this away? Why can't you make it better? Why can't you just fix it? And the truth is, He can. The ultimate truth is He can take it all away, He can fix it, He can change the situation. But sometimes there's a lesson to be learned, and sometimes it's more about what we need to learn than the fact that God doesn't want to come in. God doesn't ever want to see you suffer or see you fall or see you hurt. But sometimes we have to learn that. You know, when you've got a child, if your child's learning to walk and you constantly pick them up every time they fall down, they never learn to get up themselves. If you constantly do everything for that child, if you feed it, you put their shoes and socks on, you dress them all the time, they never learn to do that themselves. And what I've learned is that is what God's trying to teach us when we're going through things that we actually just want to be rescued from. He wants us to learn to do things for ourselves. So thinking about that, the second part that I want to look at is about the but God factor, is knowing that sometimes we have to learn what God is trying to teach us in a situation. If your faith and hope is never challenged, then how do you learn to understand it? How do you know it's real? If you never have to 100% rely on God for something, then is your faith really real? Is it what it should be? It has to be in context. It has to be contextual. We have to know why we believe what we believe. We have to know why we trust God the way we trust Him. We have to know why our faith and hope has to be in God. Our faith and hope has to be in God. And it has to be constantly evident at all times. You know, not just when things are good, because it's easy to believe in things when it's good. When life's okay, and when you've got no worries and no troubles and everything's going smoothly, that's really easy to believe in something. But when something's challenging you, that's when it's hard. And that's the time you've got to step up and you've got to say, do you know what, God, I know you're bigger than all this. That's when you have to engage the but God factor. Challenges, I believe, are the times, places and circumstances when we learn the most about God. We learn the most about our relationship with Him. You know, for any of you that are married, or thinking about it, there's going to be challenges. You know? Not in mine. Mine's perfect, of course, but yeah, everybody else. Yeah, there's going to be times and there's going to be challenges, but actually I think that when those times and those challenges come in situations and in relationships, whether they be friendships, marriages, whatever they are, they're the times you learn the most about that person. They're the times you learn who you can truly rely on, who your true friends are. And we know we've got God and we know He's bigger than it, but actually as human beings we need something else as well. We need some people to rely on. We need good people in our lives as well. And the challenging times, I think, as well, are also the times when we can learn about God's plan for our lives. As often these experiences are what shapes us for His future plan. So what sort of faith and hope do we need to have? Well, Abraham's one of my favourite people in the Bible. At the men, he's one of my favourite people. Because when there's times when I felt down and I looked at what happened to Abraham and everything, I just thought, do you know what, God, if Abraham can hope in you, then I know I can. Most of us would know the story, the promise of God to Abraham. In Genesis 17 verse 4, in the Message, it says, "This is my covenant with you, that you will be the father of many nations." But then in Genesis 18 verses 10 to 11, because Abraham was with Sarah, Sarah needed to be on board as well. And it says, "I'm coming back about this time next year. When I arrive, your wife Sarah will have a son." Sarah was listening at the tent opening just behind the man. Abraham and Sarah were old by this time, very old. I don't know how very old is, but over 100 apparently. Sarah was by far past the age of having babies. Sarah laughed within herself. "An old woman like me get pregnant with this old man of a husband?" God said to Abraham, "Why did Sarah laugh? Saying me, have a baby, an old woman like me." Now sometimes God says stuff to me, and I thought, yeah, all right, God, you're having a laugh. I thought exactly the same as Sarah, because God might say, "I'm going to move in this situation," and me, with my own personal eyes, and with all my faith and with all my hope and my trust in God, I still laugh, because I still just look at a situation sometimes and think, yeah, all right, God. That's the honesty, But we can all feel like Abraham and Sarah at times. I hope I'm not the only one anyway. When God speaks to us, when we're going through things, it's hard to see God in it. It's hard to see how God's going to fulfill his promise. It's hard to feel close to God, to understand. Experiences and challenges can often be painful. But I know from personal experience that staying close to God, having faith and hope in him, is the only way that we'll get through things, and the only thing that's going to change our situation. And one of the biggest things I've learned when we're praying in situations is not to preempt God. When we're praying about a situation, whatever it is, and we're wanting God to answer, we're waiting for direction, we're waiting for clarity, we need to listen. Now, I was looking after Marcus last week, and we had this really good discussion one day. I told Sean and Damien the other day about the difference between listening and hearing. Because I'd asked him about 4 or 5 times to get his school bag and come to school. And then I said to him, "Can you get your school bag?" He went, "But I didn't hear you." I said, you did hear me." He went, "No, I didn't hear you." I said, "Right, we're going to do a test." And I went to him, "Can you go and get your school bag?" And I went, "Did you hear that?" He went, "No." I said, "Do you want £5?" And he went, "Yeah, I'll have £5, please." So, there's nothing wrong with your hearing. You can hear, and we can hear perfectly well. But most of the time we don't listen. We don't listen to God, because we've already decided the way that God's going to fix it. We've already decided the answer. We've already decided the way forward. So we're praying to God, we're crying out to God to hear an answer, for him to do something. And he's already told you 1,000,000 times, or at least 5 or 6 times, go and get your school bag. But we've just decided not to listen. Our willingness and wanting to follow God's plans and purposes for our lives has to be stronger than our own. It has to be stronger than your own free will. It's just got to be. Because if it's not, then we're never going to hear. We can continually listen to God, but you're never going to hear what he's saying if you've already decided that actually you know best. And that fits in with taking territories, because to take territories in our own lives, we need to be following God so that we know how to defeat our enemy. As a church, to take territories, which is not my favourite word, in our community and town, we all need to be working together like an army would to take ground in a war. If we aren't following our leaders, supporting one another, watching each other's back, then the enemy can creep in. Our willingness to serve God, to bring his saving message to people, has to be stronger and more important than our own ego or agenda. Whatever God asks you to do, you've got to be prepared to do it. Because if you're not, then you're not playing your part, you're not playing your role. In the army, there's thousands of roles, but the person who cooks the food is just as important as a frontline soldier. Because if the frontline soldier goes out and is on an empty stomach and hasn't had good nutrition and a good meal and something to eat, then he's not going to be able to fight the war. He's not going to be able to do it. Recently within our family, we've seen some big answers to prayers. And to be honest, some of them have come completely out of the blue, and some of them have come in a way that I think, and some of them come in a way that I would completely not think at all. Because that's how God works. He doesn't work the way we do, thankfully. He works better than that. But they've all, to me, clearly demonstrated the but God factor. That when you look at a circumstance and when you look at something that's going on and when you're praying to God, you've got to realise and you just got to say, but God. This is what I see, this is what I hear, this is what I'm walking through, this is what's happening, but God. What does God say? What does God want to do in this situation? We have to choose to believe that God can move in this situation. Even though it's not always evident how, our faith and hope has to be in God. It just does. And I can say it and I can say it because I've walked here. And I know that there's going to be another challenge that's coming, and it's going to be required to push my faith and push my trust and push my hope in God even more. But I know that I can trust God. And when things have happened recently, I've talked to Claire about this and that. Yes, the fear has tried to creep in, but it's been so much easier to push that fear aside because I've got a point of reference, because I know that God's moved in this situation, so I know that He can do it again. And that's why I came back, and that's why I said earlier about your faith and hope has to be contextual, it has to be challenged. Otherwise you've got no point of reference. You don't know that God can move if you've never seen Him move. You can see Him in other people's lives, and that's really good and that's really nice, but actually you need it for yourself. You need to see God moving in your own life. In Romans 4 verse 18 to 21, out of the Message, it says, go back to Abraham, when everything was hopeless, Abraham believed anyway, deciding to live not on the basis of what he saw he couldn't do, but on what God said He would do. And so he was made the father of a multitude of peoples. Abraham didn't focus on his own impotence and say, it's hopeless. This 100-year-old body can never father a child. Nor did he survey Sarah's decades of infertility and give up. He didn't tiptoe around God's promise, asking cautiously, sceptical questions. He plunged into the promise and came up strong. For sure that God would make good on what He said. And that's the thing. We've got to be bold, and you've got to step up and you've got to take the plunge. You can't just keep putting your foot in and out of the water, because you're not going to achieve anything. You're never going to get across if you don't step in. You know, Charlotte was speaking earlier about the lock. You're never going to, if it's a manual lock that you've got to physically get out and open, unless you get out the boat, you're never going to do it. You can sit there and you can look at it and you think, well, I know that's what needs to happen, but unless you do something about it and take that boldness step, it's not going to happen. You know, he didn't tiptoe around. He plunged into the promise and came up strong, because he knew that God would fulfill His promise. Because points of reference to go back to, he knew that God was going to do it. Abraham knew the facts of the situation. He wasn't stupid. He knew what his natural physical body, a person, a situation told him. But he knew what God had promised, and that was bigger than his natural situation. He knew that God had given him a promise about being a father of many nations. So instead of looking at circumstances, he looked for God to fulfill His promise. And we need to be like Abraham, not looking at our circumstances, not listening to negativity, but fully, 100%, completely trusting in God. Not wavering, but complete and utter hope, faith and trust in God. If God has said it and promised it, it'll be so. And it's also the difference between learning and understanding. We've already learned about the difference between hearing and listening, but there's a difference between learning and understanding. Like I said, if your hope and faith is never challenged, then how do we learn and understand it? It has to have context. We also need to know the difference between learning and understanding. If we think about learning to read, that's one skill. But understanding it, comprehending it, is a completely different skill. That's why when you do an English paper in primary school, in your SATs, you do a reading paper and you do a comprehension paper. Because some people are fantastic at reading, absolutely fantastic. You give them a book, you say to them, read that, and then what you want to say to them, so what's going to happen next? What's the context of that story? Do you understand it? Do you comprehend what is happening in that story? So to me, when I think about my walk with God, our lives as Christians, it's like us knowing everything the Bible says, being able to recite it word for word, but not living in it. Not living in the promises God has for us, the plans and purposes. We can know the Bible back to front, and we can know what it says, but unless you live it and you walk it and you breathe it, it's not going to be any good to you. I could I could read a manual on, I don't know, fixing a motorbike. But I still wouldn't be able to do it because I wouldn't understand all the parts. I could read it and it could say, do this and do that and do that, and I could read that perfectly well. But because I don't know what the parts are on a motorbike, I'm not going to be able to fix it, no matter how many times I read it. The Bible's not a book, it's a tool for living life, an instruction manual, and we have the privilege that the author wants to have a personal relationship with us. So learning, in the dictionary, this child likes the dictionary, you see, so, yeah. But you need to know what things mean. Don't use words if you don't know what they mean, it's too scary. So learning is knowledge acquired through study, experience, or being taught. So we've got to spend time with God, we've got to read our Bible, we've got to know what His Word says about us, about Himself, about challenges and situations we may face, but it's not enough. It says learning is described as knowledge acquired through study, experience, or being taught. So what does experience mean? Experience means practical contact with an observation of facts or events, an event or occurrence which leaves an impression on someone. So like I said, to know that your faith is real, to know the but God factor, you've got to have experience. You've got to live out God's word, all of it. Not just the bits you want, not just the bits that are easy, not the bits that are nice and fluffy and lovely, like you. You've got to live all of it. You've got to take the good with the bad. In Ecclesiastes 3, verse 4 to 5, it tells us there's a time to weep and a time to weep and a time to what? Laugh. That's it, thank you. My printer is fading. A time to mourn and a time to dance. We all go through different times in our lives, good and bad, but it's all part of living. But we're never alone. And that's the amazing thing about knowing God. There's things that I've gone through in the last 5 years that I would never have wished to have been through. But they've happened. That's what life is. And when I was having really, feeling down on myself, or having a bad day, or not really knowing where God is, or seeing what was going to happen, one of the things that would keep coming back to me is, it's really hard. I find life really hard at the moment. And then I would sit there and think, if life's this hard now, what good is it going to do me losing my faith? What good is it going to do me walking away from God? I can't cope at the moment with God. So not having Him isn't going to make it any better. It's not going to change my situation. It's just going to take away my biggest ally and my biggest focus and my biggest strength and my biggest everything. So we have the learning and experience, and this enables us to have the understanding. The ability to understand something, comprehend an individual's perception or judgment of a situation is what understanding means. So if we know what God's word says, it enables us to have His perception and His judgment of a situation and His viewpoint of the circumstantial experience that is far better than ours. And that, I believe, is going to be vital when we talk about taking territories in our own lives and in everything around us. To overcome our fears, know what's stopping us, take captive our thoughts, overcome our enemy and know the power we have in His name. God's wanting to move. I know He wants to move. And He wants us to take territories. And He wants us to do something about it. But He's waiting for us to step up and take hold of the but God factor. He's waiting for us when things are hard and when things are tough and when life's not going, and even when God's moving and when He's great, you've still got to say, but God. If there are situations, challenges, experiences you're facing in your own life, ask yourself this. Am I looking to God to move when actually it's me that needs to be stepping up and making a change? God will move. God can do it. But you've got to do it too. Because He wants you to learn. He wants you to understand. He wants you to become a better person. Do I know that I'm not alone? Have I developed that learning and understanding? What more do I need to do in my own life to engage the but God factor? Or am I just focusing on how I feel and what I see? This is something I've had to walk. So it's not something I stand here and say, you know, it's never happened to me, I've got no experience, but this is what my Bible tells me. I've walked my but God factor and I'm still walking my but God factor. I have to choose to believe that there's answers. I have to choose to believe that God knows better. I have to choose that God's will, God's plan and God's purpose is stronger than my own. You know, Charlotte's going to come back up. You know, it's what God put on my heart, and I just know that it's for more than me. I just know that that's what God's asking us to do. He's asking us to engage better. He's asking us to look to Him better. He's asking us to challenge our own beliefs and perceptions of things and look at them from His point of view instead of our own.